I just returned home from a nationwide sporting goods chain. I wanted to buy a bicycle, something that I hadn't had in over 20 years. But I've recently moved to a beautiful state, and not being able to run safely anymore for my health, I still wanted a way to get out there and get my cardio in a fun way. Now, bicycles are a lot more expensive than I remembered, but I budgeted and I look forward to pulling the trigger on one today. Everything was going fine, right up until the employee handed me a smartphone and told me that I had to fill out a form. He referred to this form as proof of ownership and expected me to type my personal information into his device. Anticipating the problem that I may have with it, he let me know that I shouldn't worry because he doesn't see the information. It just goes somewhere. But as I started typing, the autocomplete showed me the information of countless other customers, from their names to their addresses to their phone numbers. I asked him to repeat what the form was for, and he said again that it was proof of ownership. I told him that the only proof of ownership I needed is the receipt. I was completely blown away by this thing that he described as non-negotiable, his words. Proof of ownership. It wasn't a vehicle that I was registering with the state. It wasn't a firearm. It wasn't even an animal. It was a bike. So they didn't want to sell me a product unless I gave them information that they could sell to big data. That's really the point. The fear wasn't that this guy would look at his phone and visit my address when I wasn't home, although that can happen. It wasn't that there could be a big data breach for someone that could, do me harm, although that can happen. Our consumer culture is so sick that a corporation bet that I, as a consumer, couldn't walk away from a purchase, so they increased the price to include my personally identifiable information. I cleared that information that I had typed, handed him his device, and I came home without that bike. I don't blame the employee. I don't even blame the sporting goods chain. You know who I blame? I blame you. Because the fact of the matter is, the company usually wins that bet, as evidenced by all the people I saw in the phone as I was typing my information in. Those would be the same people who exclaim, "Somebody has to do something," when there's a major data breach and they lose thousands of dollars because they didn't think twice to just give this thing away before they got their product. These are the same people that, when it happens to them, they blame whoever the sitting president is, with the help of their favorite news media of choice, of course. They're the same people with so little principle that they can't say no. Oh, so you didn't like what kind of movies or TV were on your streaming service? Did you cancel the streaming service? You don't like the same sports video game that they sell you every year and just change the date on the front of the cover? Did you buy the video game this year? Of course, it goes deeper than consumerism, right? You're mad about a law that was signed? You're mad about a right that you lost, you say? Okay. All the people who were in the House of Representatives and the Senate and the White House, were they still there on the next election cycle after they disappointed you, right? Or did you get them out? That happened on your watch. That's on you. Before I decided to leave the bike behind, the nice employee was already going through some multi-point inspection to get it ready. My wife asked me if I was going to take a ride as soon as we got home, and I was a little embarrassed to admit that I couldn't wait to ride like I was a little kid. But when he handed me that phone, that shook the kid right out of me. Rational viewer, learn how to say no. These methods would not be if these companies didn't think they could get away with them. From the sporting goods chains to Hollywood to the government, they are a minority of admittedly influential people, but they are still a minority. Learn to vote with your dollars. I think you'll find that it's actually more powerful than the ballot. I think so. I'm Odium. This is Message in a Bottle. Come back for the next reflection.
All the beliefs of the mind, but what's real and what's right has so little to do with those minds.